Deciding to finally get serious about losing weight and getting healthy is a big decision. One that for a lot of people can take a really long time to actually commit to. For Roberta Duncan, it was a decision that took 67 years. But her story is a testament to the fact that it's never too late to get started or to change your life for the better. And that's why I'm so excited to share it with you today. Welcome to the Ditch the Carbs podcast, brought to you by Thinlicious. I'm your host, Ruth Sukup, and here we'll talk about everything from the science of weight loss and metabolic flexibility to practical tips for making your health a priority in the midst of a very busy life. It's the perfect blend of insightful education, practical application, and good old-fashioned motivation. So buckle up, friend, because it's about to get real. Hey there, and welcome back to the Ditch the Carbs podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ruth Sukup, and I am the founder of Thinlicious and the Thin Adapted System, as well as the New York Times bestselling author of 7 books. And today I am so excited to share with you Roberta Duncan's health and weight loss journey, because her story is just so touching and so inspiring. But before we dive into the interview, I do want to make just one very quick announcement. It's that if you are new to this podcast, if this is your first time listening, you're new to Thinlicious and that low carb lifestyle, then I would love to send you our free starter guide. It's so helpful for understanding just a little bit of the science behind our program, basically how it works and why it works, and maybe even why, if you've reached a certain age, you might feel like your metabolism has stopped working. And it's absolutely free. You can get it at thinlicious.com/guide. So once again, just go and download it at thinlicious.com/guide. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's dive in to today's episode, because we are taking another one of our deep dives into what actually transforming your life through adopting a low carb lifestyle looks like in real life. And we are sitting down to chat with one of our most amazing Thinlicious customers, Roberta Duncan. And I got to tell you, Roberta's story is inspiring because, how do I want to put this? Roberta was what you might call a bit of a late bloomer in terms of health and weight loss. When she discovered Thinlicious, she was 67 years old and had been, in her own words, overweight and miserable for a very long time. She had almost given up hope completely, and maybe some of you can relate to that. But as always, it's so much better to hear Roberta's story in her own words. So here's what she had to say when she sat down with Thinlicious success coach Lisa Thompson to talk about her journey so far.
So I'm going to have Roberta introduce herself to all of you and tell us a little bit more about herself.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a real honor to be on here this morning. And my name's Roberta Duncan. I live in Bangs, Texas, little town right in the center of Texas. And it's very, very hot. It was 108 here yesterday. But I've been on a Thinlicious journey since September the 6th of 2022, and I've lost 48 pounds. And I'd like to say I've lost more, but this is where I'm at right now, and I feel really good. Lots of things have changed in my life and for the best. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this program. So.
Well, we love having you be a part of this program. 48 pounds is so stinking phenomenal. That is amazing. And you look amazing. Everybody in the comments is all commenting, Roberta, you look stunning. I was thinking the same thing. Roberta, you look amazing. You too. And that's exactly what I said when I jumped on this morning. You look absolutely fabulous. So we're thrilled to have you here. And we're so proud of you and just the hard work you've done. So tell us, what made you want to try Thinlicious? And what was it about this that felt different than things you had tried before?
Well, what made me try Thinlicious was Ruth. And her success with what she was doing. And it looked like something maybe I could do. It sounded easy. I wasn't sure, about taking sugar and flour out of my system, because I love to cook, and I just wasn't sure how it was going to work. But I was willing to take 28 days and see what I could do with that, because I had gotten, my health was part of the reason, because my blood sugar had gotten to where my A1C was over 10. And I looked like a blown up balloon. I just was so puffy and I felt awful. I fell asleep every time I sit down in a chair. But once I started this program, things began to change, and really rather quickly for me, because I had so far to go. So I think, the first 28 days, I lost 15 pounds, and I hadn't lost 15 pounds and I don't know when, years. So, I learned that I had congestive heart failure in 2017 and had to go for a heart transplant evaluation. And so I had a reason besides just wanting to look better and feel better. My health was really seriously and in a hard situation. So now that is all so much better. Just saw my heart doctor last week, and she is thrilled. My ejection fraction, and if you don't know anything about hearts, well, I didn't either, but the bottom of your heart is what pumps, kind of like an oil well, and it pushes the blood up up and out back through you, and that's what gives you energy and breath. And anyway, I didn't have anything. I had about less than 25% of my heart was pumping the return of blood. So now I'm at least 50% on my ejection fraction, which is low normal. And even though I still have, a floppy left side, and I have a defibrillator pacemaker gizmo, I feel so much better. My heart doctor is thrilled to death with what I've done, and just says, keep it up. So that's what I'm doing, keeping it up.
I love that. I love how this program can change the way people look and they feel about themselves, because I think there is a lot of your confidence and how you feel about yourself that does stem from how you look and how your clothes fit and all of that. But what gives me goosebumps and what is even more exciting to me is when people have these literally life-changing health transformations where you're going to live longer, you're going to have a better quality of life because you've made these changes. And so that's so awesome. I totally love that. And I just love that you were like, okay, I had a health reason, but I also felt like I was looking like a blown up balloon. So I had multiple things going on, and now you made this change. So when you started, I know you said you were like, all right, I can give something 28 days. What were you hoping to achieve? Did you have any, small goals or big goals when you started out?
I just wanted to feel better. I have done so many weight loss things. I really didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to see if I could maybe even get a part of what Ruth had done with her success. It just, and when the 28 days, I knew before it was up, I had to keep doing this program because it was the answer for me. I don't know if it's the answer for everybody, but it was the answer for me. And I'm 68 years old. I'm not getting any younger, and my body, I know at some point, as you age, your body tends to break down some. And I didn't want that to happen anytime premature. So I just couldn't wait to learn more, to get into the thin adapted system and find out what you can only share so much in the 28 days, but I wanted to learn. It created something in me that I felt like a sponge, and I just wanted more and more and more information because it made sense. Nothing in my life up to this point about weight had made sense. And this does. I mean, it answers so many questions about, why your hormones are in such a mess so much of your young life. Now I'm kind of evened out a little bit in that area. But when I think back to the years that I suffered so much in my late 30s and 40s, I went through menopause around 42. So, I really was a mess with my hormones and moods and just things that putting more fat in your diet. Who would have told you that? We just weren't taught things that we need to be taught. And one of the books that you guys shared, The Obesity Code with Dr. Jason Fung, I got that book and read it. And so many, it confirmed to me things that Ruth was saying, so not only was she saying it, but I was getting, more doctors, and Dr. Edie was talking, and, there's just so much in this program you don't get anywhere else. It's just great.
Okay, first of all, I had no idea you were 68. I thought you were much younger than that. So you look amazing. So I love that. And I love that not only did you dive in to hear what Ruth was saying, like once you were like, all right, this works, but that you also were diving into some of the other resources that we share that were helpful. I've said this lots of times. I really, really wish Thinlicious had been around when I was on my weight loss journey. I think I would have lost, the 125 pounds I've lost much quicker. And it would have been a much more enjoyable journey because I would have had people to share it with. But that book was really, really helpful for me. I just had no idea that so much of what I had learned had been wrong, and hearing where all of that stuff came from and why people were sharing the nutritional information they were sharing, and hearing about the difference between the links to genetics and nurture versus nature, and all of that in that book was really, really beneficial to me. So I love that you're digging into all of that stuff. So you started this out kind of like, all right, I'm going to see what I can do. And then before you even finished the 28 days, you were all in. Was there anything you were worried about going into this, like hesitations you had just because you tried so many things? And how did you overcome those challenges or those, like, all right, I've already tried everything else. What's one more thing? How did you flip your mindset on some of that stuff?
Well, one of the biggest problems I had was, how am I going to cook now? Because I don't know anything about cooking with almond flour or coconut flour, or, I used olive oil, but cooking scared me to death because everything we do in Texas is about food, and I'm sure everywhere else. But but my bunch likes to eat, and I'm the one that ends up doing a whole lot of the cooking. And I was afraid how everybody was in my family was going to respond to it. And my husband, well, he wanted me to lose weight, so he's kind of played along, but I think the thing that helped me the most, and I wish maybe we talk about it in the 28-day challenge, but it's a separate piece, and that's the confidence in the kitchen. When I finally decided I need to know whatever's in that, because I've got to get my kitchen in order so that I can shop better and cook things. So once I did that, and it kind of told us that it was good to just dedicate space to the things that you're going to be using in the kitchen for your benefit. And so I cleaned out a couple of cabinets, took things out of the pantry and shuffled everything around. And so I have dedicated cabinetry for things, and that helped me a lot. Then I have a second refrigerator, and so having things on hand, like extra cheese and extra meats and extra milks and heavy cream, stuff that I didn't want to run out of. I didn't have room in my refrigerator for all of it. And I don't like to go to the grocery store real often, but just having things on hand, that was key for me. And then I probably could have bought shares in HP ink, in the instant ink stuff. I have printed out every recipe that everybody from the summit, from all the delicious recipes. I've got notebooks and stuff that I've got to organize a little bit better now because I keep adding more. And but just having that, knowing that I had the resources, whether it was food or storage or recipes, that was important to me. The rest of it, when I had time just to sit down, besides being on the Facebook, Delicious Facebook page, kind of got off of the rest of Facebook. I didn't have time to do it all. But to be able to sit down and look at hard copies of things, I like digital, okay, but if I want to feel like I really got it, I need it on paper. And so I've printed out a lot of stuff.
I love what you said about confidence in the kitchen and having dedicated space, because my first 5 years of my journey, I just had the stuff that I used in the same pantry as all of the other stuff. And when Ruth shared that she kept all of her stuff in a separate cabinet, I was like, I should do that. And when I did that, it was like, oh, that makes it so much easier because I know where everything else is. And I'm not like trying to root through all the other stuff. It just makes it really easy, and it saves so much time in getting recipes put together. And when I have my kids make stuff for me, which it happens very, very regularly, they know exactly where to go for each of the things that they need. And so I think that is so, so helpful and such a good tip, because I had no idea that something so small would have such a big impact on how easy it is to make things happen and make things work in the kitchen. So that is such a great tip.
Well, if you're going to run out of something, you notice it more than if it's just mixed in with everything else. So
yes, for sure. It is a big difference. And you do realize oh, Fred, we're almost out of those Lily's chocolate chips, and we cannot ever ever run out of those. Like that is life-giving for me. So yeah, it does make a difference. And you don't want to find yourself like needing to make something and then not having what you need handy. And so that does really help with that. What do I have? How much is left? And all of that. So you have had amazing success. You've lost 48 pounds. How has that weight loss like changed your goals since you were starting? Like when you were starting, did you think like, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds or I want to lose 25 pounds or I want to lose 15 pounds? What was your original goal and how has that changed?
Well, my original goal was to get out of the size 22 jeans I had and get down into something more manageable. And I'm actually in a 14 and they're a little bit loose. So yay for that. I wanted to get things out of my closet this time. In the past, I have several closets in the house that are just all my things. And it's because I have this size and that size and saving this just in case. And, you know, you have summer, winter, but you have all these sizes. And I told myself I'm going to go through and put into tubs what doesn't fit. And then I'm going to take it when it's time to the consignment shop and let it go because I'm ready for this lifestyle to be my lifestyle from now on. It's doable. And once you can let go of sugar and flour, maybe not forever, but for mostly ever, it's not healthy. And you're not going to feel good if you jump back on it. And I think there's a lot of us in this program that, you know, have kind of dabbled in things at times and realized that we did not feel good after doing that. But my goal was to be healthier, but it was also to lose weight. And I really, like I said, I didn't have any preconceived, I want to lose 50 pounds. I mean, I didn't even think that big. So this has been incredible just to see what I could do. But I guess my real goal was to see where I would be in 1 year. I wanted to give it a year after I got into the program. It's like, okay, I know I didn't get this way overnight. It took a whole long time. And I couldn't expect to change my life overnight. And if I couldn't give it a year, you know, with the success I'd had so far, there was something wrong with me. I needed to stick with it. And so, you know, I haven't come up on my year yet, but it's getting closer. And I'm so happy that I felt this time that I was worth it because we have been given so much information to help our mindset. And I don't want to sabotage myself anymore. I don't want to devalue myself anymore. I think as women, it's easy for us to do that. And I've been caught up in that for a long time. And I really want to be done with that. And I want to continue to improve myself, but I want to know that what I'm doing is worth it, and I know it is, you know, so.
Yeah, it is definitely worth it. And I think what you said is really, really such a good reminder that we are worth it. And like, we're worth the effort, we're worth the intention, and we deserve this. We deserve to have a good, healthy, long life. And so when we don't value ourselves, when our mindset isn't right, it's so much harder to lose that weight. It's so much harder to make this a lifestyle. I always talk about, like, are you as good of a friend to yourself as you are to everybody else? Because if somebody said to you, oh, you're doing Thinlicious. What's Thinlicious? That's a weight loss thing. Oh, well, you've always failed at weight loss in the past. Like, you're probably going to fail again this time. Like, those are the things we say in our heads. But if you ever said that to a friend, your friend would be like, you're the worst friend ever. But as women, we so often devalue ourselves. We're so good at taking care of everybody else. We're so good at encouraging everybody else. And yet the things that we say to ourselves, the way that we treat ourselves, like, we're a terrible, terrible friend to ourselves. We don't keep our commitments to ourselves. We say unkind things to ourselves. And so I love that you said this. You are worth the effort. Like, we are all worth that effort. We're beautiful. We have so much value. And so when we treat ourselves the way we need to be treated, when we nourish our bodies the way that we need to nourish our bodies, it can be life-changing. And not only for us, but when we take good care of ourselves, we have so much more potential to take care of others. We have the ability to do things that will be life-changing for others as well. And so I love the confidence, the change in mindset. When people have these big epiphanies, they're like, okay, I've lost 48 pounds in less than a year. What else could I do? Like, I can change the world. I can do anything. And so that mindset piece is super, super valuable. So, all right, do you have tips for how you make this work in your everyday life? Because when everybody's first starting out, it feels really, really overwhelming. And like, how the heck am I going to do this? I have a life and I don't have time for something that can feel like it's like a full-time job in the beginning, when you're like, I got to test my blood and I got to like figure out these new recipes. And, and especially when you do the 28-day metabolism reset, we have so many recipes for you that you can feel like you have to make them all, which you don't. Everybody, you do not have to make every recipe. You can start with a few. But what are your tips for making this work in your everyday life?
Well, as much as I thought I needed all these recipes, you're right. It's easiest if you just have some core things that you like to eat. My husband doesn't do Thinlicious, but he does eat the things that I fix. But we've always been big meat eaters. And so meat, cheese, eggs, that's the staples in our house. And he likes a baked potato or French fries, something like that. So I have fried rutabagas just because I wanted to see. I'd never eaten a rutabaga before. Oh, what does it taste like? And cauliflower, only eating it raw. So I began to use the cauliflower rice. You can mash it. You can just do just about anything with it. But just we liked eggs for breakfast, bacon for breakfast, sausage for breakfast. I love the chaffles, the bagels. During the 28-day challenge, cheese, eggs, pork skins, the Parmesan crusted pork chops. I like to just grill pork chops or steaks or whatever we cook outside a lot. I have a Traeger and I love cooking on it. Hamburgers. I learned a new something on my hamburgers that I like to do. And I just take the hamburger patty, put it on the grill. Once I flip it, I usually time it for like 8 minutes on each side. But while they're cooking, I'll take onion and thin slice it, and a little bit of butter in a skillet and saute it. And then when the meat is about 2 minutes from being ready, I pile those onions on top of that on the grill. And then I put a slice of cheese over the top of that and let the cheese hold all that in on the meat. And it is wonderful with the lettuce wrap or,
so
just
amazing.
eat. It's really good that way. So y'all should try that.
That sounds delicious.
But anytime I needed a quick meal, I just pulled out meat and cooked it. Or I used thin sliced deli meat, rolled it up with a dill pickle and some cheese, anything to make it easy, and there were times like during Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and, things that I branched out and created a lot more stuff. But a charcuterie board is perfect. Deviled eggs, things that you can take when you go somewhere. And one thing that just never really dawned on me was when you go somewhere, take something you can eat. I always used to take what everybody else liked, and I knew that they wanted me to bring. Well, I still do that, but I also take something that I know I can eat and other people can enjoy too. And of course, the charcuterie boards are perfect for that. But even deviled eggs is great, and vegetable platters and all that stuff. You can make a meal off of that, no matter what everybody else is eating. So, that
great tips.
That just
Heather said you're making her hungry. I agree, Heather. She was making me hungry with those. Saute the onions with some butter, put it on your burger, cover it with cheese. And I was like, oh, it's 9:30 in the morning, too early to have a burger. I probably, but that sounds so stinking yummy.
It's good.
That's a great tip, to bring something that you enjoy. I also am one of those, I bring whatever, I've always brought what everybody else likes. And I've had to change that so that I bring things that people like, but that also I like as well. Like one of my go-tos when I'm, especially around the holidays, is I try to bring sausage balls wherever I go because everybody likes them. I'm like, do you need an appetizer? I can bring some sausage balls. Because I haven't met anybody that doesn't like those. Or the mozzarella stuffed meatballs. That's another little great something to take that I love. And charcuterie boards are they're so amazing and they're so trendy right now that it doesn't seem like, oh, hey guys, I'm bringing this because I can't eat anything else. It's like, oh, hey guys,
food.
Yeah, right. You're like, I'm really on trend, so I'm bringing this charcuterie board. And even now, you can make them so holiday themed. I did a turkey one last year with all the cheeses spread out to look like, turkey feathers. And I've done, for the holidays, for 4th of July, you can do, pepperonis and meats cut into the shapes of stars or whatever, and add some, white cheeses and some blueberries and make yourself a big American fudge charcuterie board. So it's very possible now to bring things that make it look like you're trendy and not like you're dieting and can't have anything else. So that is such a good tip. Cheryl said, I brought keto brownies on Tuesday night to a game night. Yes, having something you can have is definitely winning. And I love when I bring stuff to a party and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. It's my favorite thing here. And you're like, you're not even you have no idea. This is this is how I'm living my life. Or when people say things like, oh my gosh, how do you eat like this and look like that? And I'm like, oh, because I get to eat really, really amazing food and still lose weight, which is really, really awesome because I did every diet under the sun prior to this. And most of them were like, here, have a piece of cardboard. It's really delicious. And then you can finish your cardboard off with this disgusting shake that tastes like dirt in a cup. And then you'll lose weight. Like, that is not my idea of a good time. Having sausage balls and eggs and bacon and having a burger with caramelized onions and cheese is like, that is the kind of lifestyle that I want to be living. So I love that. Okay, so what advice would you give to someone who is just starting out on their Thinlicious journey? Like, what do you know now that you wish you would have known? And I know we've talked about this on multiple accountability group calls. Like, in the beginning, everything is hard and you feel like, oh my gosh, I have so many questions. And there's like, and now you're kind of like, oh, I don't really have to think much about this way of eating. It's second nature. What advice would you give to someone starting out? Because you're now at that much further along, I know what I'm doing point of view.
I think if you'll focus on cutting out the sugar, cutting out the flour, focus on that, whether you just have to eat the same thing for 2 or 3 weeks till you kind of get your feet on the ground. There's so much information to take in, and then you have to do it. You got to do the Zoom calls, and you got to read this online, and and you need to go to the grocery store, and you got all this shopping list, and don't worry about buying everything that you need all at once. Ease into it as you see that you might want to try something new that you haven't tried before. Somebody talks about a recipe, then just plan it in. But don't just, and I made that mistake of thinking I had to go buy everything all at once and then I was set. Well, you're not ever set. You just, because you may not even use some of that stuff you go buy for a while, So just get the basic things that you need just to cook meals for a week. And then kind of, sit down and think about where you want to go next week. Do you want to just do the same things? Because if you're losing and you're eating the things that you should and the real foods, you're going to lose weight, and you just go slower. They have to push us through this 28 days, but we don't have to go that fast. And I stayed in phase 1 2 or 3 months. It felt good to my body. I was still losing, and don't feel like you have to rush into phase 2. You can learn that part of the program, but do what's working for your body and take your time, learn it, absorb it, take it all in, go to the accountability calls. Yeah, there's no need to rush. That's true. There's no need to rush. And if you're looking at like I was on, where am I going to be a year from now? Well, that looks like a long time off. And so I didn't have to rush through those first couple of weeks or months. I just needed to take it slower. And that's what I would really want somebody to get out of this. Use your people in the Facebook accountability groups. Use people in the Facebook, groups. Ask questions there. Pick up information everywhere you can. Come to the accountability calls. I love those, and I've missed being at them off and on for the last little bit. But our life has been really crazy, and I'm hoping things will kind of calm back down a little bit. But it's just slow down, and just focus on what you're learning. Take it one day at a time. If you mess up today, just do better tomorrow or do better the next meal. That's what you say. So,
Yeah, do the next right thing. That's great advice. So sorry for the banging. I like that you said that there's no need to rush, because I think like we are all in a hurry to lose the weight. We want to lose the weight by this weekend. We want to lose the weight by, that was always me. I want to lose 50 pounds by this weekend. It wasn't realistic. I was all about the non-realistic things. And so I think the thing for me that changed, that flipped the switch for me, was I have the rest of my life, and this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. So it doesn't matter if it takes a year to lose the weight. It doesn't matter if it takes 4 years to lose the weight or 10 years. I'm just going to keep going. And that's where it's going to be a game changer. So you said, start slow, pick a few things, make those things. What are your favorite meals to make that are the things that are on repeat in your kitchen?
The scrambled eggs, the easy, cheesy scrambled eggs. I've never had eggs like that. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. Bagels are wonderful. I love the everything bagels. I would have never, didn't know how to make them. They're great. I love chapels. I like just having meat and cheese and eggs. That's boiled. I keep boiled eggs in the refrigerator. A lot of times if I get a thought, I really think I kind of want something sweet, I'll try to go and get something savory instead, because I know I probably need the protein. And so if I do that, I'll get a stick of cheese or get an egg or roll up some meat and just eat it. I love cold chicken. I can eat cold chicken all day. But just easy stuff. It doesn't, but I do like the Parmesan crusted chicken. I like the lasagna is okay. It's not my favorite, but a lot of people like it. They're more, I'm not a big Italian food eater. I'm more into the Mexican food, but I have made my own tortillas with almond flour and eggs and, cooked them. And then I've used shredded chicken and cheese and rolled them up and put some enchilada sauce on it and called it Mexican food, and I use pork skins with guacamole. I love avocados. I can just sit and eat an avocado with garlic salt and a little bit of lemon juice on it, and I love that. You just don't have to get. I love recipes, and I love a lot of the recipes. Well, everything I've made, I like, but I still go back to those easy things because my husband he wants a steak, he wants a pork chop, he wants some ham. So that's the type of meals I fix for him. So I just make me a separate vegetable, and he gets his starchy stuff and I get mine. So, and then there's the thing that's been so crazy to me is that I'm not as hungry as I was. I couldn't get over how I didn't think about food all the time. And it totally consumed me before. I would eat something, 20 minutes later, I was thinking about what am I going to eat next? 20 minutes later, it was that way all day long, and it would just wear you out because you were just getting that sugar and starches, and it was just constant. And once I got to eating healthy and getting enough fat in my diet and getting more protein, cutting back on the carbs severely. There's no telling how many carbs I was eating a day before I started this. But to get that into the proper ratio, and your macros was so satisfying. I didn't think about food. I could go hours without thinking about food. I didn't know what I was going to do with all this extra time I had. I mean, that takes up a lot of your time when you're just thinking about food all the time and what you're going to cook and what you're going to, from you're going to go out with somebody. Well, where are we going to eat? Everything's about food. And so now I have a calmness about food that I did not have. And it came because my body has responded so well to this program that it just, it's content, and now I can say, well, I wonder what I'm really hungry for. Who would have thought that? I just stuffing everything in before. So, yeah.
Yes, I love that. What are you going to do with all that extra time? I was the same way. I was consumed with thoughts of food. What am I going to make? What am I going to eat? I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry that I would just eat whatever. And now, I actually nourish my body. So my body doesn't need to think about what am I going to eat, because it knows it's going to get the fuel it needs.
Right.
And it's not I need feed me.
Well, you don't get hangry anymore.
Right. And everybody is so thankful for that. Let me just tell you. Is there anything you want to share? Any encouragement, motivation, piece of advice that you think everybody needs to know that's been a game changer for you?
I think for me, getting into the TAS program, take the next step for however many months you need to do it. Do it for the year, take the jump, take the leap. You're worth it. It will provide you so much information that you can never, ever unlearn. That's a key phrase that we use. Once you know it, you can't unlearn it. So, and that's so true for me, because in the back of my mind now, I have resources to battle some of those thoughts that I get at times. And I don't want to go back to where I've come from. It was not a good place. And if you haven't decided whether you want to make the jump, I encourage you to do it. Do it for a month, do it for 2 months, do it for 3 months. Try it. You're worth it. And, if you have to give up subscriptions or buying jewelry for a month or 2 or 3, or, go through your closet, take your stuff to the consignment store, find a way to pay for it. It's worth every penny and much, much more. And the encouragement that you will get from this community there is nothing else like it. Nothing else like it. This organization is like nothing else. It is a lifetime journey that you can be so proud of what you do in this program. And I know I speak for a whole bunch of us that started in September and in June of last year. And it's the journey has been wonderful.
Well, literally, I have never been a part of a community that is so invested in each other's success, because the reality is we can all lose weight. We can all get healthy. There is no, if Roberta loses 48 pounds, I don't have to gain that 48 pounds. It is not, we can cheer each other on. There's enough success for all of us. There's enough weight loss for all of us. And so I love this community because everybody genuinely wants to see each other succeed. And that makes this such a great community. So Roberta, you have been such an asset to our community. You are such a joy. I love your attitude. I love how you cheer everybody else on. It's fun watching in the comments that people are like, oh, I love it when Roberta comments on things, or, Roberta's so encouraging in our, accountability groups, because you are. It's so awesome to have you as part of our community. Thank you so much for taking time to share your story this morning. I love that not only have you changed the way you look, and you look stunning and amazing and phenomenal, but you've also changed your health, which I love that. I love the fact that you've said, oh, my heart doctor said, keep doing what I'm doing. I love that you started with your A1C over 10. And so you are doing the thing. You are such an inspiration. And I know there's so many people who are just beginning their journey that are watching you and saying, okay, I could take a year and do this thing. And in a year, the progress that I'm going to make is going to be phenomenal, because you haven't even hit your 1 year mark yet. You still have, a month and a half before you hit that 1 year journey. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right, you guys, that about brings us to the end of today's episode. I will be back next Monday with another new episode where we're going to take a deep dive into a topic that might actually be a little surprising, because it's not always something that we talk openly and honestly about. And that is the downsides of losing weight. Because believe it or not, there definitely are some not so great things about losing weight that you should probably be ready for. So get ready for that one. But in the meantime, it would mean so much to me if you are enjoying this content that you would subscribe or follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you like to listen. And not only that, if you know anyone else who would find this content useful, then please share it. Send them a text, share it on social, share it via email, shout it from the rooftops. I don't care how you share it, but let's get the word out. And then finally, because this podcast is so brand new, your reviews are actually a really big deal. So if you feel so inclined to leave a review, that would actually be so amazing. But if you do that, be sure to take a screenshot, send it to us at hello@thinlicious.com, because we are choosing listeners at random each week to win lots of fabulous prizes. So Thinlicious Magic Protein Bars, or 28-Day Metabolism Reset, Thinlicious T-shirts. We got all the good stuff. But the only way to win is to leave a review and send us a screenshot. And then, of course, if you have any questions, or you want to connect, or you just have some topics you'd like to see me talk about here on the podcast, please feel free to email me at hello@thinlicious.com. And then I will see you back here very soon for our next episode. That's all for now. See you soon.